and welcome to my book journey. So I have a fun video for you today. My library recently celebrated their 125th birthday. Isn't that amazing? So in honor of that, they put together a cute little booklet for us. And I don't know where, I was going to ask to see where, maybe it was from their librarians, but from all the librarians. But they put together a list of 125 books that they felt were, you should read. And they put them in order of, of genres. And so it says, celebrating 125 years the best way we know how, with our favorite books. 125 years ago, we opened with a collection of 1,700 books. Now we serve our community with more than 105,000 volumes and 2 locations. So to celebrate, our librarians have put together a list of 125 books we love from across the years. And so I thought that was fabulous. So I went through and actually checked off and said, have I read this one? Have I read that one? And so what I did was I went to the library a couple times. I went to the library once by myself, and well, Allie was there with me, but she was doing one of her little programs. But I went through the list and tried to find the books to see, which ones were on the shelves, and because a lot of these I had never heard of before, so I wanted to see what they looked like and what kind of books they were. And then I went back another day to go back and get some more because there's 125 books. I did not find every single book, and I didn't even look for all the books for 125 books because I would have been there all day long. And so, but I did find a few, well, more than a few. I found several of them. And so I'm gonna put here next a clip of my little time at the library trying to find these books and telling you about them. And then when I come back, I will go over some more, and then I will show you the books that I actually have on my shelves that were on the list. So that was awesome. So I'll be right back. Okay, so here is the 125 books for 125 years. And so I'm just going to see how many I can find in my library and kind of figure out if I want to check some out. Maybe. We'll see. So let's see here. I'm just going to go in order. And, oh good, that starts with an A. What you are. So let me look through these and then I'll get back up. Hey, I found the first one. So here's the first one. It's called What You Are Looking For. And what you are looking for is in the library. It's a cute cover. It's got a cute little cat. And this is under literary fiction. So let's see what this is about. Let's see. Okay, this one sounds really cute. It's about a librarian that can sense or knows exactly what somebody is looking for or needs to read in their library and recommends books to them. I'm going to check this one out because I think this is like a really interesting book. So that's a good find. Okay, Poison Bible. I have heard a lot about this one. Is here at the library. It's kind of a chunker for literary fiction. Okay. Bonfire Vanities. Where did I see it? Oh, there it is. Oh my, this is a chunker for sure. Bonfire. Very chunky. Okay, for historical fiction, this one's called Empty Vows by Mary Monroe. And she's got a ton of books here. So this is it right here. Empty Vows. And I love the cover. So this is a historical fiction, which you know that I love. It's a series, or part of a series. Let's see. Okay, another really famous historical fiction is Beloved by Toni Morrison. And that one is, I did find that one too, is right here. I've never read this either. So this would be a good one to check off the list, and good to know that they have a copy here at my library. Okay, here's another one I haven't heard of before. Time of the Child by Neil Williams. And that is right here. Looks like it's in there too. Time of the Child. Let's see what this is about. Okay, this one sounds really good. It's about a father and a daughter, and it's set during December, so I think this would be a really good Christmas, well, not Christmas, but December read. It sounds really a family, set in 1962, I think, is what I read. So I have to remember this one. Okay, in the romance section, there's one called Before I Let You Go by Kennedy Ryan, and I never heard this author, so it's always a good thing to find out new authors. And so here it is. So let's see. Okay, I don't know about this book for me to read because it says it sounds like it might have some spice in it. But at least it's spiced between a married couple. So I guess, I don't know. But anyway, it's a story about a woman and her husband going through some hard times, and they actually separate, I believe. And they have small children. But the book is about them rekindling their romance, and hopefully it has a good ending in it where this marriage is salvaged and they find love again. So, but I don't know. But I probably won't read it because it does sound like it has some spice in it. So, but there you go. Okay, in this mystery and suspense, we have John Patterson here with Along Came a Spider. And all of these are his books. He has so many books. I have never read any of his books, but I am assuming that they put this one down because it's one of his most famous books. So there it is. There's actually 2 copies there. So I guess if I want to try one of his books, that would be a good start. Okay, so on the mystery suspense, we have Laura Sims, How Can I Help You? Never heard of that author either. And that book is right here. Oh, it's pretty short. So let's see what this one's about. Okay, I should have noticed the library card on the front cover, but I didn't. Okay, so it's about a librarian. Another book about has to do with librarian, but this one has a dark tone to it. She is in disguise, or in posing as a librarian. She has a past, and evidently she was a nurse that had a lot of deaths that she left in her wake. So that's another interesting one. I might take this one too. Yeah, this one sounds interesting. Okay, I'm moving over to the Around the World section. And so these, I guess, are books from different parts of the world. And I this one called Mexican Gothic. So let's see what this is about. I think I actually have seen this around as a like a historical fiction kind of too, so that's an interesting one. Okay, I found two of the young adults. I found Pet, and I found all Pet and Turtles all the way down. So Pet is right there. These are young adult books. And then all the Turtles all the way down by John Green. He's the one that wrote this book, Fault in Our Stars. I haven't read it, but I think I saw the movie. So this is another one that they recommend by this author. Okay. Middle grade, posted. Oh, the post-it notes. Huh. About words. Okay. That's a good one. Okay, Beavis and Ramona isn't here, but they do have a ton of the Beverly Fairy books here. It's not that specific one. So I'm looking at this one. The other book by Cicada Harris. Here, you're supposed to be holding it. This one right here. And it is right there. Historical fiction. We're going to do The Shark Attack by Emily Habeck, and that is here. Oh, that's not it, is it? What is it? Is it called The Shark Part? Okay. It says here that these newlyweds, Lewis, a man who over the course of 9 months transforms into a great white shark. What is that? And Ellie wants me to get it just because she wants to know. That's funny. Okay, so here's another literary fiction, and it is The Bullet Swallower. Interesting title. Elizabeth Gonzalez. And here it is. Oh, it looks like it's a Western. Okay, let me see what this one's about. Okay, this one sounds really good. It's a dual timeline about a man in the 1800s that decides to rob a train, I believe. And then, this is set in Mexico. And then the future time is somebody that's related to this outlaw. And then him finding out the secrets of his family and things. Sounds really interesting. And I like the setting, so I'll have to remember this one for sure. So this is another one in the literary fiction list. Could not find the book by Stephen King called Fairy Tale, but they have tons of other books. They see it. Yep. Firestarter. I think I read that one already, actually. No, I didn't read it. I saw the movie. I read one of his other ones, though. Okay, another one. This is
Mystery and Suspense is Michael Connor. This is a new, fairly new in 2024. I've never heard of this guy. Let's see what this is about. So this is a book about they're tracking down a serial rapist. So this is not one I would be interested in reading. I just don't like that theme. But he's got a lot of books, so he has, you know, a lot in his series. So the Agatha Christie they have is Orient Express, and I haven't read that one yet. But this is the one that it is Murder on the Orient Express. So that's there. The Agatha Christie's. Okay, so we found Galloway's Edge by Ken Bruin. That looks like it's also a new one, 2025. I think this is it. Is this? Oh no, that's not it. It's probably part of a series then. This one says Galloway Confidential. Galloway's Edge. I guess they don't have that one because it's a brand new one. Oh. So, Around the World, Pillars of the Earth by Ken Follett. There's another one that's... Nope, that's not it. That's not it. It's this one. No, it looks like... Oh, it's got the book 2 in the trilogy. It looks like it's a World War II one that has the Nazi symbol. Interesting. He's supposed to be really good historical fiction. But here's this one, The Pillars of the Earth. And I've heard this is really good. It has to do with the building of a cathedral, I believe. Okay, now in the poetry section, selected poems of Emily Dickinson. There's a couple of them, different books here. So those are those here. The nonfiction ones are really hard to find, but we did find one so far, The Message. And I don't really know what this is about. It has to do with politics. Uh-oh. Mentions the Orwell's politics in English language. Oh, has to do with that somehow. But there's that one. There's a couple other ones that we want to try to find on this section. Let's see if we can. One that Ellie actually wanted to see what it looked like. I'm Glad My Mom Died by Jeanette McCurdy. And I've heard a lot about this one. And I recognize the cover. I'm actually going to see what this is about. Okay, it's supposed to be about a girl or a woman that grew up as a child actress and her struggles with that. Sounds kind of interesting. So at least I know where it's at. Okay, I found 1776 and they have it down here on display. That's what I want to try to read.
So as you can see, I did find several of those books, and some of them were pretty crazy, like that one with the shark. That was, and I meant to get that one. I meant to go get that one, and I didn't to check out. But I totally forgot. Maybe for another time. Maybe for some kind of strange prompt that would count. So so I have another copy. I have like a copy that I didn't cut out or anything, and so I just wanted to go through the ones that I have here on my shelves that actually I own, or ones that I have read. So in the romance category, I was so pleased to see that they had a Christian fiction in their romance section, and one that I had just recently read, and they had this one, Hope Between the Pages by Pepper Basham. So that was super cool that was on their list. And then another one, and like I said, I just finished reading that one. Another one in the romance section that's also Christian fiction is by Nicole Deese, and I'll put it up here because I don't own that one, Before I Called You Mine. And that one, they didn't have like a hard copy, but I could get it on Libby. A lot of these, I didn't find the hard copies, but I'm pretty sure I could find them on Libby through the library. And then they had one called The Obsession by Nora Roberts. Nora Roberts is pretty, I don't know why I didn't try to find that one, because her books are always there, but I must have just overlooked that one. And then they had another one called You Should Be So Lucky, but I didn't find that one either. Okay, for historical fiction. So one book that I have on my TBR, I don't own it, but it's one that I've heard about, and I didn't find it a hard copy there, and it's called Homegoing. I'll put it up here. And this one's one that I've heard is really good historical fiction. Another one, I do have one of the books that, let's see, I only own one of the historical fiction books, and that is a book that's called The Book Thief. Oops, and it's pretty big copy, but it is I believe it's a middle grade, if I'm not mistaken, or maybe not, maybe young adult. It is The Book Thief. It has to do with World War II, and I'm actually going to be reading, I have not read it yet, but I'm actually going to be reading this book in October. I'm hopefully going to be buddy reading it with Jess over at Pages and Grace. We're going to be buddy reading this together in the month of October, so I'm looking forward to that. So hey, I had one, I think, yeah, out of all the historical fictions, I did have one on my shelf, so that was kind of cool. Okay, I did not have any of the mystery and suspense books on the list on my shelves. I didn't have any of those. I did have two of the literary fiction books. I have a book called Trust, and that's this one. I recently picked this up at a library sale. So this is called Trust by Hernan Diaz, and it has to do with a time period in the 1920s, I believe, with like stockbrokers or something, maybe. Maybe, I'm not quite sure, but maybe that is what it is. But anyway, this is this was part of their literary fiction section. And then the other one that I own that's literary fiction, and this also, I will be reading this one. This one's on my schedule to read for my Journey Through Time reading challenge. And this one will be my book for the decade of 2020, the 2020s. And so this one's called Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And I've heard a lot of great things about this book as well. This one, and this is one that when I first saw the title, I thought maybe it had to do with time travel or something like that, but it doesn't. I think it has to do, if I remember right, it's been a long time, two friends, I think, that work with, oh, okay, let's see here. I think it has to do with friends that make video games, or just create a video game or something. I think that's what it's about. But anyway, like I said, I will be reading it at the end of the year. Okay, so let's see. Let me flip this over on the other side. And okay, so now fantasy and sci-fi section. I didn't find anything at the library that was on the list. I didn't find any, but I have a ton. I have 4 of them here that I own. And so let's see. The first one is The Hobbit is on their sci-fi and fantasy section. So I have that one. And then I have The Martian by Andy Weir. And so this one is a great one too. So I have not read The Hobbit, but I have read The Martian. I've read that. And then another one on their list for sci-fi and fantasy is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. And this is another one I have read this one already. So, and I really enjoyed this one. And then the last one that I have, that's sci-fi fantasy, I just finished a couple days ago, and it's Kindred by Octavia Butler, and I love this one. It was such a great read, and so that one is another one that I have. Okay, and so I have 2 of the books that are considered, that they put on for their classics section. Pride and Prejudice, which I read last year, and so got that one. And then Hamlet is one that I hope to read maybe in the coming year, hopefully with Ellie's school, homeschool, we'll get some Shakespeare in. And so I have Hamlet. That could be one that we could read. And then the last book I didn't have any of the young adult books, and I didn't have, I think I only had one middle grade book, A Wrinkle in Time. It's downstairs, and I didn't want to go downstairs and get it. I do own that one, but that was the only one I had. I didn't have any of the poetry books and the picture books. I didn't even look through them. And then the nonfiction, I didn't have any of the nonfiction that they have on the list. So I have quite a few books here that I can go through in the coming year, or in the fall and in the coming year. Let's see, like I said, I am scheduled to read tomorrow at the end of the year. And then there are a couple on here that I would like to read that I don't own. Like that Nicole Dee's book, I'd love to read that one. Homegoing is another one I would like to check off this list. Let's see, what was, I did, this is the one I thought I had. I thought I had this one, A Thousand Splendid Skies, A Thousand Splendid Suns. I really do like this category. It's called Around the World. So it's books, based around the world. So I'm really going to look at those later on to see if they count for any kind of readathon or prompt or anything that I'm doing in the future. It's a really good handy resource for me. And so A Thousand Splendid Suns is what I thought I had. I was looking at in my shelves and I don't have it. So maybe I almost bought it and I didn't, but it just sounded familiar. But let's see here. The other one that, Trust, because I want to read that one. Let's see. That one book, like I said, I've never read a James Patterson book, and so the one they have on here is Along Came a Spider, and my library does have it. So maybe I could try reading one of his books just to check that off the list to say that I've read one of his books, because he has so many. And John Grisham, A Time to Kill. I have read it. I think a couple. Well, maybe one John Grisham book a long time ago. But let me show you, I did end up checking out a couple books while I was there. Okay, I felt so dumb because I was just filming and talking about all these books, and it sounded really good, and I looked and I wasn't even filming. So I'll have to start over, and I probably won't say the same thing. But anyway, so I did check out two books from the library when I went in. So this one is called What You Are Looking For is in the library, and this was in the literary fiction section. And then this one is called How Can I Help You? And this was in the mystery and suspense, in the suspense section. And they're both have to do with libraries. It's like the library setting. And so this one sounded super fun. And like I said before when I was recording, and it wasn't recording actually, that this book reminded me of the books, if you've read them, it's called Before the Coffee Gets Cold. And it's like a time travel book. And they're really short and really cute, and because this is a translated book from Japanese, it's set in Tokyo, and it is about a librarian who can sense what a person likes to read, or what they really like to read, and what books they would enjoy. And so I was saying, how fun it would be, or not how fun, but interesting would it be if you go into your library and the librarian would just know you, just could sense that you like historical fiction, Alma, you like Christian fiction, and you like time travel too. If they could sense that. And they would know exactly the perfect book you would even need maybe for that time, because sometimes you don't, you like certain books, but you're just not in the mood for them at the time. Maybe this librarian would know exactly, hey, I know what book you need right now. So I'm excited to read this book. Let me know in the comments below if you've read it before, because it seems like I've seen, I don't know, I think this cover looks really familiar to me. So I don't know if I've seen anybody talk about it or review it on BookTube. So there's that one. Now this one, and I just thought it was funny because when I was recording, I just didn't even notice that it had the library card on it, you know, until I read what it was about. I'm like, oh, it's about a library, another librarian. But this librarian is not a good librarian because she is pretending to be a librarian because she is a nurse that sounds like she's on the run, maybe on the run or in hiding, and she has been known to leave a trail of deaths, patients in her wake, and maybe somebody finds out that she is not a real librarian, and maybe, but it's another short one. And so this author I've never heard of before, Laura Sims. So I don't think I will read these in July because I still have quite a few books that I need to finish this month, and I've only got 2 weeks left. And maybe I will pick these up in August. You know, maybe I'll read them at the same time since they're library books and they're pretty short. I think this will be a fun read. So I did pick up this one. I didn't pick up that shark book. I totally forgot to get the shark book that Ellie thought was hilarious. All right, so that is it. Those are all the books that I have on my shelves. That went along with my library's 125 books for their 125 years. So let me know, has your library done anything similar? Do they ever have lists out for you? You know, suggestions that you have tried and have enjoyed. All right, let me know in the comments below. You all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.